r/ask Reddit. What made the popular kid at school the unpopular kid? A guy at my school got drunk at a party, got naked and inserted his penis into a Jim Beam bottle and ran around all crazy like with it attached but not having to use his hands. At the time it was quite a laugh, but it wasn't until a day or so later people thought about how small the opening was to a Jim Beam bottle. That was basically the end of him. And thus the legend of Slim Jim was born. Nice one. There was one kid in my class who was the son of our maths teacher. He was crazy popular because he was able to help everyone out with their homework for that class. Turns out he was actually snooping through his dad's notes to get the answers. The teacher naturally got super suspicious after a while, so he deliberately made a fake answer sheet. Of course, the kid grabbed it and noted it all down. It was full of wrong answers so blatant that anyone who even slightly paid attention in class would know they were way off base. The kid handed out the answers anyway, and in an instant made about half the class bomb, and his popularity dropped like a rock as they all accused him of deliberately making them fail. They moved him to another class and they never had an incident of cheating again. He shit his pants. I remember a guy at my school kept on asking to use the restroom, and the teacher kept refusing. Eventually, he went up to a trash can, dropped trow, and took a shit. This was middle school, but nevertheless, folks remember it to this day. If that was my school, he would have been a legend. Exactly, we had a kid whip his dong out and pee in the trash can after giving warning to the teacher that if she didn't let him go he was going to quote, drop pants and piss in a trash can. The guy was a legend for that power move, complete with the follow through too. He accidentally stabbed and blinded, in one eye, the nicest kid in the school by throwing a stick at him. The kid that was blinded grew up to be super successful and is now married, with a baby on the way. I feel pretty bad for both kids. If it was really an accident, it probably haunts him every day, especially if people treated it like it was purposeful. He was arrested his junior year for raping his 8-year-old sister. Yeah, that would do it. His girlfriend dumped him and moved away to a private school, so he started sending videos of him jacking off to the other popular girls in school. Why did he think that was a good idea? I think the logic there is that he would love to receive unsolicited pictures or videos, so why wouldn't they? Having a set of keys given to him by the school. WTF. I know, because he was one of the really popular kids. Then using those keys to break into the school and steal $30 cord of woodworking metalworking tools. To be fair, the school got what was coming by giving keys to a student. Exactly. This happened maybe 16 years ago. I still don't understand their logic. He punched the autistic kid, then proceeded to get jumped by every single guy that saw him in school for the next week until his parents had him switch schools. There's times bullying is acceptable. This is one of those times. Edit, guys, I meant bullying the bully. He recorded himself shoving carrots, cucumbers, and a bottle of hot sauce up his ass in the back of a van. Then someone found the video and shared it with the whole school. The van makes this exponentially worse. He didn't get a Sega Dreamcast, but I did, so I became the popular kid. Until a PlayStation 2 kid rolled up. I was relatively popular. I was in JV basketball, marching band, mathletes, and track, and pretty much made friends with everyone until my best friend at the time claimed I pushed her down the stairs and caused her to have surgery on both legs. Thing is, I was at my grandmother's funeral in another state the entire week she claimed it happened. While the teachers kept us apart and understood my side, none of the others really believed me, except the anime club. They believed me. Go weebs. Only the anime club believes in top 10 anime betrayals in real life. They have the power of God and anime on their side. When he was caught taking upskirt photos of girls in school and sending them to his friends, his popularity went from hero to zero in a split second. Yikes, that's sexual harassment and felony, right? I wish I'd known this in grade 9. A guy in the hall took an upskirt pic of me when I was waiting to go downstairs. You know how crowded the halls get when class lets out. I was so embarrassed because I figured it was my fault for standing too close. Only years later did I realize how ducked up that whole situation, and my reaction was, everyone else graduated. Edit. Thanks for the gold award. This was clearly enjoyed more than I anticipated. She stopped handing out free Skittles. Rip Skittle Girl's reputation. The first ones are supposed to be free. She's just trying to run a business here. Guy wasn't necessarily the popular kid, but it wasn't a big school so everyone knew everyone. I think between 9th and 10th grade he was found alone in his car behind the local arcade beating off. He was called Thumper from that day forward. No idea what happened after graduation, but he has to have some bad memories of those years. When she made fun of me in front of everyone for wearing a yellow shirt to school. It was just a plain yellow shirt and she somehow found a way to mock the color. It was so unnecessary and made her look like someone who was just rude for no reason. Everyone quickly realized that she thought people were automatically on her side cause she was somewhat rich, and she just became a joke after that. Maybe she had some childhood trauma involving lemons. He sexually assaulted one of the most liked girls in the school, and after legal action took place, and he came back to school, nobody spoke to him. Nobody acknowledged him. He played soccer, and so the school let him stay, for some ducking reason. If they wouldn't give him justice, we all decided to ourselves. I can't believe his parents decided it was a good idea for him to return to the same school after that sort of incident. It was a very prestigious school, and graduating it was an incredible honor. Started straight up lying to teachers to get people in trouble. Don't know how he thought that was gonna work out. Edit. Spelling. One of the kids at our school lived with his grandma cause his parents died. Donghead and a group of his mates started harassing the old lady whenever she came to pick him up. Principal was reported this and they ended up getting expelled altogether. Justice. When everyone found out he was jerking off to science teacher, she, in the class, along with his friends. This was 8th grade. Are you really jerking off alone? No, I'm with the science team. He shared his dong pic. It was reportedly really small. He got teased so much he had to move away. I swear this has happened in every year group, in every school, since camera phones became commonplace. I don't know why anybody thinks it's a good idea. He apparently ducked his dog. Even if it didn't happen, this pretty much ducked his social standing. A girl I went to school with did that. She was extremely vocal about it too. She got pregnant and the school-wide joke was she was expecting puppies. I went to an all-girls school and there was an all-boys school about 5 minutes walk away. When I was in my final year, the school vice captain of the boys' school was dating one of our grade leaders. Both being 17 and not very smart, she eventually got pregnant, she dropped out, and pretty much everyone who knew him at our school hated him. Prior to that, he was very well liked. I thought it was a bit ridiculous honestly. Pretty sure it takes two to tango. He wore a t-shirt that said if you go to Brown University, you're chump. Unfortunately, many people in the school had plans to go to Brown University, and they shunned him. Edit. Whoops, my mistake. The t-shirt thing wasn't what made him unpopular. It was because he was convicted of statutory rape. A girl in my school fingered herself with Kit Kat in the dining hall and then ate it. WTF. This guy at my table would play the "no one likes me, I'm the center of attention now" card. As in he would fake sadness for attention, redirecting conversation and drawing the energy from a room. Like the kid who won't be friends with you anymore because you wore the same color shirt. He was quite wealthy too and would rub it in your face. There was an Asian girl who was well liked by everyone. Smart. Happy to help anyone struggling in class and was generally a nice person, but her uncle scammed a lot of people in her community, including parents of kids that went to our school. She went from being well liked to being bullied, still she dropped out of school. Duck that uncle. The kid had cancer, was super cool while he was doing chemo. Cancer went into remission and he became a total douche. I hear chemo can affect a person permanently in many ways. My husband's boss was an absolute tool before and during chemo. Just one of those duck you, get it done type guys. When he returned to work after remission, he became the coolest, friendliest guy and a fantastic boss. He's one of the only department directors in this hospital who fought hard for his employees to get paid what they're worth. It was a complete 180 in personality, and he even admits there was no revelation or change of heart that happened. It just physically changed his brain and this is who he is now. He got into legal trouble because he and his team embezzled misused $250K from the student union. The university kicked him out, stopped paying the annual $2 million to the student union, withhold funds, although that was later overruled by the courts, and revoked the privileges granted to the student union. Earlier this year, they stated that they and students are no affiliation to the student union after 1 year of negotiations. His team was still running the student union because they were elected. They bought votes by offering pancakes, waffles and donuts for those who vote for their party and had street volunteers that would pressure students to vote for the party. It actually led to a law being passed in Ontario that prevented universities to force students to pay non-mandatory fees. The scandal was revealed by a student party called the Rhino Party back in December 2018. January and February, heads started rolling and law and accounting firms started getting involved to figure out how much was spent. It was rumored the figure was anywhere from 100k 900k. Ontario provincial lawmakers passed the law in the summer of 2018. Starting fall 2019. I had the choice whether I wanted to pay auxiliary fees to support the student newspaper, NGOs that operated in the school, support the student union, etc. That provincial law was recently overturned by the courts this year, so starting next fall, I am forced to pay fees associated with groups that I don't support. He went from being popular to being a school meme. There's actually a lot of bank statements available that showcase what they bought. My partner likes to tell the story of how she became the unpopular kid at school. She was about 6/7, so primary 2 here in the UK, and a trend kicked off in her class of eating dog biscuits. All the kids were stealing dog biscuits from home and eating them at break time. Unfortunately, she didn't have a dog, and just had to eat normal human biscuits at school. She was ostracized every break time for it. Peer pressure is weird sometimes. There was a really pretty girl that was quite popular in my high school. She was a bit snobby to people and sorta rude. I recall one time she threw a textbook at my groin because I was leaning back in my desk and thought it was funny. I guess it kinda was thinking back. She also liked to make fun of the fact that I was Mexican on more than one occasion. Anyways, she gained significant weight our junior/senior year in high school. And I guess a lot of the popular kids decided to disown her for it. I never actually heard anything, but I recall her sitting all alone at lunch one day. Not my best moment, but I walked by her, pointed, and plainly said, "You earned this." A popular guy in my year pissed himself during an exam in our gym hall. Unfortunately for him, the biggest a-hole in our year was sitting directly behind him. He immediately stood up and yelled he pissed himself. He proceeded to get teary-eyed and say, "It's my energy drink." It spilled over and over before the exam supervisor literally dragged him out of the hall. 2 weeks later he returned to school the unpopular kid and kept a low profile for a while until it eventually died down and he climbed the social ranks once more. That is until an episode of The In-Betweeners, a popular TV show in the UK, aired in which one of the main characters shits himself in the exam hall and it reminded everyone of what happened, effectively nuking his popularity all over again. The In-Betweeners is surprisingly accurate of schooling in the UK, specifically the main character's perception of the world. I could relate to it a lot. When being fast wasn't good enough anymore. So he hooked up with a girl? No, he's saying Sonic the Hedgehog enrolled at his school, thus making him the second fastest. And nobody likes second best. Crystal meth. Sounds like a hell of a story. Breaking Bad intro plays. He ducked his friend's mom at a party. Let's call popular kid A and his friend B. B's mom was arrested, as she should have been, and B faced torment from basically everyone that knew what happened. Kid A continued to brag about his actions. Eventually people gained sympathy for B and Kid A lost his popularity real fast. I stand by Kid A as one of Radiohead's best albums. She made fun of a girl with cancer, made a joke like, "Why don't you ask your mom to buy you a wig? I can see your scalp." And overnight, she was the least liked person in school, and 100% deserved it. The pastiest white girl at my school was recorded saying the N-word. He thought it would be cool to bring a loaded BB gun to school and got the cops called on him by another student. What happens if I'm homeschooled? The popular kid of your house, IDK. Trading a Charizard card for a Rattata. They screamed racist insults and yelled at everyone for doing the tiniest, littlest things that aren't annoying. When I was in primary school, the popular kid thought it would be funny to flush the class pet, a hamster called Nibbles, down the toilet. All the kids thought the hamster would have died. He quickly became known as the kid who killed a hamster. He ended up changing schools for another reason. BTW, the hamster survived. I don't know how pipes work, but I heard the caretaker eventually found him. The school still gave Nibbles away after that. Edit. Holy shit, 1,500 upvotes is the most I've ever got. Thank you. If you were wondering about the kid, he had bad ADHD or something like that. He was transferred to a school that specialized in kids with behavioral problems. He has a stable job as a bookmaker, but that's all I know about him. Also, although we were told Nibbles survived, we never saw him again. All we know is that he was given away to a random family. There is a possibility the teacher made that up, as another Redditor pointed out, and Nibbles actually did perish and they just didn't want to upset us. He started calling a bunch of kids the N-word and his life just went downhill from there. Not exactly popular, more like the king of the a-holes. But he had a project in mind. Bully the newcomer to get some fresh fame for his butt apostles. The target, a Greek exchange student. Nice guy but quite a beefy boy, 150 plus kilos, and a wrestler. I watched, no ducking way I was getting in the middle of a beach slap tornado, and my regret as of today is the lack of camera smartphones back then. Bully Dunt got his jaw broken, and lost 5 frontal teeth, dislocated shoulder and 3 fractured ribs. Legally speaking, he only defended himself and also played his defense on his weight, blaming the bully of making him lose his balance and by doing so, fell on him. It's not entirely false. Bully Dunt got back 2 months later, still suffering from his injuries, shunned by his previous peers, stayed about 2 weeks and then never came back. When school started, she was so popular she could hang out with anyone in any kind of friend group. She was that beautiful, social, athletic blonde girl. Then, she began hanging out with me, the 16 years old handicapped girl walking slowly with a wooden cane like an old woman. She instantly got unpopular, but still decided to stick around, and we made our own group of friends. 10 years later, she's a popular jeweler in my old town, and still as beautiful, funny and kind as ever. He didn't exactly become unpopular, but my high school's star quarterback recorded a video of himself fingering his butt and he sent it to a girl in a neighboring school district. The video got passed around there and made its way back into our school and he got socially vibe checked. But he didn't really lose his popularity. It was just sort of lessened and he actually became a way better person after the fact. He still never learned that you can throw bullets when playing indoor football in gym class against non-football players though. She was popular, then she found Jesus, almost instantly unpopular, then she became immensely popular again when she was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. High school is a beach. I went to school from 4th grade to high school with a kid my age whose father was a prominent city official in our town. Even though we lived only a few blocks from one another, we were in different worlds. My background was much more blue collar and unfortunately I lived in an alcoholic and physically violent household. For these and other reasons I never understood. His mother despised me and she wanted her son to have nothing to do with me. She actually called my mother once to suggest that she keep me away from her son. Since our class in life was so very different, I found him smart and funny and fascinating and we pulled around. He wore slacks while I wore jeans and his suede shoes were much better than my sneakers. By our high school years, he was a football letterman while I was a band geek, and he was in college prep while I took vocational courses. We still knew each other, but he was in a college track and I was living day by day. As graduation approached, we learned that his parents had worked with the local congressman for his appointment to West Point. Whoa. Tragically, the night of graduation he and his girlfriend went out with him driving drunk on a country road. He hit an oak tree and she was killed. That's the last I ever heard of him. But once in a while I Google his name just to see if he might surface somewhere. I sometimes think of how mortified his status conscious mother must have felt. And wonderful about his girlfriend's family and of course what happened to my friend who killed someone just before his life began. I wish him well over 40 years later. I'm just not sure what happens when life seems to be laid out before you with concrete expectations and it all goes so tragically wrong in the blink of an eye. He threw a watermelon at a black kid's house. Threw a hockey stick, hollow ended, into the special needs kid's eye socket. He claimed it was accidentally only, but was caught bragging about it on his Snapchat story. He then said, his words not mine, he doesn't have any hope though. So what does it matter? The kid needed surgery that his parents had to pay for. As it was cosmetic, the kid moved to a cheaper schools a week later. There was a girl who was really popular and then she got pregnant and had an abortion, and one of her shitty friends told other people, and then everyone called her a slut and started rumors like saying she got the abortion because the dad could have been one of 10 different guys. It was awful. High school bullying in the 2000s was a mess. He was chatting up my much younger sister, her 12 him 17, and a few months later someone in the class brought it back up, so he picked a fight with me. I have barely any muscle, but what I found out that day is I have one hell of a right arm. Stopped coming to school. Didn't even do her exams in the end. Just sat at home and smoked weed all the time. Didn't even work. She just got boyfriends who would pay for everything for her. Became spiritual. Got the Hindu symbol OM tattooed on her finger. Got dreadlocks, etc. Posted weird photos on her Instagram. It's hard to explain, but she just sort of became weird. I once heard her talking to a bunch of 13-year-olds about how her boyfriend just got out of prison. ? She also always spoke about wanting to have a baby. This weed smoking, non-working, 18-year-old girl wanted a child. In the end, nobody in my school even spoke to her anymore. Even her friends didn't like her much because she was sort of a beach. She was popular because she was super pretty and smart. It's sad. She obviously has no direction in her life. Her only qualifications are the exams we did when we were 15. Her brother and sister were still in the school. They were really nice and basically the opposites to her. I hope they do well. They find out the house he lives in. Kid bragged about it being bigger than everyone else's and ended up bad looking house, I'm assuming. He wasn't really popular, but he took and upskirt of a girl sitting behind him and tried showing it to people. People found out he was killing animals in super ducked up ways. Held a dog underwater until it drowned. Ran over a cat with a lawnmower. Used baseball bats and machetes. Dude was doing some serial killer level stuff. Now he's in the army. Oh boy, do I feel protected. Pretty cool guy, into a few different hobbies, and was very friendly. Too friendly. Me and my friends noticed this and dropped him because he wouldn't stop trying to be physical with us. His excuse was I am bisexual, but that gives him no right to touch me. Eventually he cheated on his girlfriend of several years with the school horse, recorded ducking her and showed his friends. Within a day the entire school hated him and he dropped out, or transferred. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. But I know a lot of people that would love to throw hands for what he did. His ex that he cheated on was insanely heartbroken and led to a very depressing and sad part of her life. But she has gotten better since, as far as I know. She first got a slutty reputation and then got terrible acne. Went from cute cheerleader girl to pariah. I felt sorry for her. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.